Happy Easter, West Coast Nazarenes, and we're coming to you with day 26 of our 60-day read-through of the Word. Today finds us finishing Job and getting on into Psalms. So I'd just like to pray as we get started. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Today we celebrate your resurrection and your fulfillment of the God's plan to bring us into union with Him. And I pray that as we focus on that today, we can also learn more from your word and hear more about you each time we read it. In your name I pray, amen. Without further ado, let's get into the word. Okay, here we are. Job chapter 35. And Elihu answered and said, Do you think this is to be just? Do you say it is my right before God that you ask, What advantage have I? How am I better off than I have sinned? I will answer you and your friends with you. Look at the heavens and see, and behold the clouds which are higher than you. If you have sinned, what do you accomplish against him? And if your transgressions are multiplied, what did you do to him? If you are righteous, what did you give to him? Or what does he receive from your hand? Your wickedness concerns a man like yourself, and your righteousness is Son of Man. Because the multitude of oppressions, people cry out, they call for help because the arm of the Almighty, but none says, Where is God my Maker, who gives songs in the night, who teaches us more than the beasts of the earth, and cries out, wiser than the birds of the heavens? They cry out, but they do not answer, because the pride of evil men. Surely God does not hear an empty cry, nor does the Almighty regard it. How much less when you say that you do not see him is the case before him, and you are waiting for him. And now, because his anger does not punish and does not take much note of transgression, Job opens his mouth in empty talk. He multiplies words without knowledge. Job chapter 36. And Elihu continued and said, Bear with me a little, and I will show you, for I have yet something to say on God's behalf. I will get my knowledge from afar, from ascribe righteousness to my Maker. For truly my words are not false. One who has perfect knowledge is with you. Behold, God is mighty and does not despise any. He is mighty in strength and understanding. He does not keep the wicked alive, but gives the afflicted their right. He does not withdraw his eyes from the righteous, but with kings from the throne. He sets them forever, and they are exalted. If they are bound in chains and caught in the cords of affliction, then he declares to them their work and their transgressions, that they are behaving arrogantly. He opens his ears to his instruction and commands that they return from iniquity. If they listen and serve him, they complete their days in prosperity and their years in pleasantness. But if they do not listen, they perish by the sword and die without knowledge. The godless in heart cherish anger. They do not cry for help when he binds them. They die in youth, and their life ends among the cult prostitutes. He delivers the afflicted by their affliction and opens their ear by adversity. He also allured you out of darkness and into broad place where there was no cramping, and that was set on your table in full fatness. But you are full of judgment of the wicked. Judgment of justice seize you. Beware lest wrath entice you into scoffing, and let not greatness of the ransom turn you aside. Will your cry for help avail you to keep you from distress, or from all the force of your strength? Do not long for the night, when peoples vanish in their place. Take care, do not turn to iniquity, for this you have chosen rather than affliction. Behold, God is exalted in his power. Who is a teacher like him? Who is prescribed for him by his way? Or who can say, You have done wrong? Remember to extol his work, of which men have sung, and mankind looked on it. Beholds it from afar. Behold, God is great, and we know him not. The number of his years is unsearchable. For he draws up the drops of water, they distill these mists in the rain, which the skies pour and drop about abundantly. Can anyone understand the spreading of the clouds, the thundering of the pavilion? Behold, he scatters his lightning about him and covers the roots of the sea. For by these he judges people, he gives food in abundance. He covers his hands with lightning and commands it to strike the mark. Its crashing declares his presence. The cattle also declare that he rises. Job chapter 37. At this also my heart trembles and leaps out of its place. Keep listening to the thunder of his voice and the rumbling that comes from his mouth. Under the whole heaven he lets it go, and lightning cover corners of the earth. After it, his voice roars, his thunder with his majestic voice, and he does not restrain the lightnings when his voice is heard. God thunders wondrously with his voice. He does great things we cannot comprehend. For the snow says, fall on earth, likewise the downpour, the mighty downpour. He seals up the hand of every man, that men may know he may know it. Then the beasts go into their lairs and remain in their dens. From his chamber comes the whirlwind and cold from the scattering winds. By the breath of God ice is given, and the broad waters frozen fast. He loads thick clouds with moisture. The clouds scatter his lightning. They turn around, and by his guidance to accomplish all that he commands them on the face of the habitable world, whether for correction out of his land or for love he causes it to happen. Hear this, O Job. Stop and consider the wondrous works of God. Do you know how God lays his command upon them and causes the lightning of the clouds to shine? Do you know the balancings of the clouds, the wondrous works of him who is perfect in knowledge, whose garments are hot when the earth still because of the south wind? Can you, like him, spread out the skies hard as to cast his metal mirror? Teach us what we shall say to him. We cannot draw up our case because of the darkness. Shall it be told him that I would speak? Did a man ever wish that he would be swallowed up? And now no one looks on the light when it is bright in the skies, when the wind has passed and cleared them. Out of the north comes a golden splendor. God is clothed with awesome majesty. The Almighty, we cannot find him. He is great in power. Justice and abundant righteousness he will not violate. Therefore men fear him. He does not regard any who are wise in their own conceit. Job chapter 38. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, who is this that darkens counsel by words without knowledge, dressed for action like a man? I will question you and make it known to me. Where were you when I laid the foundation of the earth? Tell me if you have understanding. Who determines its measurements? Surely you know. Or who stretched the line upon it, on where its base is sunk? Or who laid its cornerstone when the morning stars sang together and all the sons of God shouted for joy? Or who shut the sea with doors when it burst out from the womb? When I made the cloud its garments and the thick darkness swaddling band, and prescribed limits for it, and set bars and doors, and said, thus far you shall come and no farther. Shall your proud waves be stayed? Have you commanded the morning since your days began, and caused the dark dawn to know its place, that it might take hold of the skirts of the earth, and the wicked is shaken out of it? It's changed like clay under the seal, and its features like out of a garment. From the wicked light is withheld, and their uplifted arm is broken. Have you entered into the springs of the sea, or walked the recesses of the deep? Have the gates of death been revealed to you, or have you seen the gates of deep darkness? Have you comprehended the expanse of the earth? Declare if you know all this. Where is the way to the dwelling of light, and where is the place of darkness, that you may take it to its territory, and that you may discern the paths of its home? You know, for you were born then, and the number of your days is great. Have you entered the storehouses of the snow, or have you seen the storehouses of hail, which I have reserved for a time and for trouble, for the day of battle and war? What is the way to the place where the light is distributed, or where the east wind is scattered upon the earth? Who has cleft a channel of the torrents of rain, and way of the thunderbolts, to bring rain on the land? No man is on the desert, which there is no man, to satisfy the waste of the desolate land, and to make ground sprout with grass. Has the rain a father, or begotten drops of dew? From whom did the ice come forth, and whom did give birth to the frost of heaven? and the waters become like hard stone, and the face of the deep is frozen? Can you bind the chains of Palladius, or loose the cords of Orion? Can you lead forth Mazzaroth in their season, or can you guide a bear with his children? Do you know the ordinances of heaven? Can you establish their rule on earth? Can you lift up your voice to the clouds, that a flood of waters may cover you? Can you send forth lightnings, that they may go and say to you, Here we are? Or who has put wisdom in the inward parts, or given understanding to the mind? Who can number the clouds by wisdom? Who can tilt the waterskins of heavens when the dust runs into the mass and the clods stick together fast forever? Can you hunt the prey for the lion, or satisfy the appetite of the young lions when they're crouched in their dens, or lie in wait in their thicket? Who provides the rain and its prey when the young ones cry out God for help and wonder about the lack of food? Job chapter 39. Do you know when the mountain goats give birth? Do you observe the calving of the does? Can you number the months they fulfill? And do you know the time when they give birth, when they crouch and bring forth their offspring and are delivered of their young ones become strong, and they grow up in the open, they go and do not return to them? Who has let the wild donkey go free? Who has loosed the bonds, the swift donkey, to whom I have given the plain for his home and the salt for his dwelling place? Who scorns the tumult of the city? He hears not the shouts of the driver. He ranges the mountains in his pasture, and he searches for everything green. Is the wild ox willing to serve you? Will he spend the night in your manger, or will he harrow the valleys after you? Will you depend on him because his strength is great, and will leave him to your labor? Do you have faith in him that he will return grain and gather it to your threshing floor? The wings of the ostrich wave proudly, but they are the pinions and plumage of love. For she leaves her eggs to the earth and lets them be warmed on the ground, forgetting that a foot may crush them and that a wild beast may trample them. She deals cruelly with her young as if they were not hers, though they labor in vain. Yet she has no fear, because God has made her forget wisdom and given her no share in understanding. When she rouses herself to flee, she laughs at the horse and his rider. Do you give the horse his might? Do you close the neck with his mane? Do you make him leap with the locust, the majestic snorting and the terrifying? He paws the valley and exalts in his strength. He goes out to meet the weapons. He laughs at fear and is not dismayed. He does not turn back from the sword upon the rattle of the quiver, the flashing spear, and the javelin. With fierceness and rage he swallows the ground. He cannot stand at the sound of the trumpet. When the trumpet sounds, he says, Aha! And he smells the battle from afar, the thunder of the captains and the shouting. It is by your understanding that the hawk soars and spreads its wings towards the south. Is it at your command that the eagle mounts up and makes a nest on high, or the rock dwells, makes its home on the rocky crag stronghold? From there spies out the prey. His eyes behold it from far away. His young ones sucked up the blood, and where its slain are, there he is. Job chapter 40. And the Lord said to Job, Shall a fault finder contend with the Almighty? He who argues with God, let him answer it. Then Job answered the Lord and said, Behold, I am of small account. What shall I answer you? I lay my hand in my mouth. I have spoken once, and I will not answer twice, but I will proceed no further. Then the Lord answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, Dress for action like a man. I will question you and make it known to me when you even put me in the wrong. Will you condemn me that you may be in the right? Have you an arm like God, and can you thunder a voice like his? Adorn yourself with majesty and dignity. Clothe yourself with glory and splendor. Pour out the overflowings of your anger, and look on everyone who is proud and abase him. Look on everyone who is proud and bring him low, and tread down the wicked where they stand. Hide them in the dust altogether. Bind their faces the whole world below. Then I also will acknowledge to you that your own right hand can save you. Behold, behemoth, which as I made you, he eats grass like an ox. Behold his strength in his loins, and his power in his muscles and his belly. He makes his tail stiff like cedar. The sinews of his thighs are knit together. His bones are tubes of bronze, his limbs like bars of iron. He is the first of the works of God. Let him who made him bring near his sword. For the mountains yield food for him. Where all the wild beasts play, under the lotus he plays. Under the lotus plants he lies. In the shelter of the reeds in the marsh, for his shade is the lotus trees cover him, and the willows of the brooks around him. Behold, if the river is turbulent, he is not frightened. He is confident, though Jordan rushes against his mouth. Can one take him by his eyes, or pierce his nose with a snare? Job chapter 41. Can you draw out a leviathan with a fishhook, or press down his tongue with a cord? Can you put a rope in his nose or pierce his jaw with a hook? Will he make many pleas to you? Will he speak soft words? Will he make a covenant with you to take him to serve him forever? Will you play with him a bird, or will you put him on a leash for your girls? Will traders bargain over him? Will they divide him up among the merchants? Can you fill his skin with harpoons or his head with fishing spears? Lay your hands on him. Remember the battle. You will not do it again. Behold, the hope of man is false. He is laid low even at the sight of him. No one so fierce that he dares to stir him up. Who then is it that can stand before me? Who has the right? Who is first given to me? I should repay him. Whatever is under the whole heaven is mine. I will not keep silence concerning his limbs or his mighty strength or his goodly frame. Who can strip off his outer garment? Who would come near him with a bridle? Who can open the doors of his face and around his teeth and tear? His back is made of rows of shields shut up closely with a seal. One is so near to another that no air can come between them. They are joined one to another. They clasp each other and cannot be separated. His sneezes flash forth light, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the dawn. And out of his mouth go flaming torches. Sparks of fire leap forth. Out of his nostrils comes forth smoke of boiling pot and burning rushes. His breath kindles coals, and flame comes from his mouth. In his neck abides strength, and terror dances before him. The folds of his flesh stick together, firmly cast and unmovable. His heart as stone, hard as the lower millstone. When he raises himself up, the mighty are afraid, and the crashing they are before themselves. Though the sword reaches him, it does not avail, nor the spear, nor the dart, nor the javelin. His count is as straw, his bronze is rotten wood. The arrow cannot make him flee. For him, sling stones are turned to stubble. Clubs are counted as stubble. He laughs at the rattle of javelins. His underparts are like sharpened potsherds. He spreads himself like a thrashing sledge on the mire. He makes the deep boil like a pot. He makes the sea of a pot of ointment. Behind him he leaves a shining wake. One would think the deep to be a white-haired. On the earth there is not his like, a creature without fear. He sees everything that is high. He's king over the sons of pride. Job chapter 42. Then Job answered the Lord and said, I know that you can do all things, and that no purpose of yours can be thwarted. Who is this that hides counsel without knowledge? Therefore I have uttered what I did not understand, things too wonderful for me which I did not know. Hear, and I will speak. I will question you, and you will make it known to me. I had heard of you by hearing of your ear, but now my eyes see you. Therefore I despise myself and repent in dust and ashes. After the Lord had spoken the words to Job, the Lord said to Eliphaz the Temanite, My anger burns against you, against your two friends, for you have not spoken of me what is right, as my servant Job has. Now therefore take 7 bulls and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job, and offer up a burnt offering for yourselves. And my servant Job shall pray for you, for I will accept his prayer, not to deal with you according to your folly. For you have not spoken of me what is right, but my servant Job has. So Eliphaz and Temanite and the Bedouin and the Shuhite and Zophar the Naamathite went and did as the Lord told them, and the Lord accepted their prayer. And the Lord restored the fortunes of Job as he had prayed for his friends, and the Lord gave Job twice as much as he had before. Then he came to him, all his brothers and sisters, and all who had known him before, and ate bread with him in his house. And they showed him sympathy and comforted him for the evil the Lord had brought upon him. And each of them gave him a piece of money, a ring of gold. And the Lord blessed the later days of Job more than his beginning. And he had 14,000 sheep, 6,000 camels, 1,000 yoke of oxen, and 1,000 female donkeys. He also had 7 sons and 3 daughters. And he called the name of his first daughter Jeremiah, and the name of his second Keziah, and the name of his third Karen Hapuk. And in all the land there were no women so beautiful as Job's daughters. And their father gave them an inheritance among their brothers. And after this, Job lived 140 years and saw his sons and his sons' sons 4 generations. And Job died an old man, full of days. Psalms chapter 1. Blessed is man who walks not the counsel of wickedness, nor stands in the way of sinners, nor sits in the seat of scoffers, but delights in the law of the Lord. And on his law he meditates day and night. He is like a tree planted by streams of water that yields its fruit in season, and its leaf does not wither. In all that he does he prospers. The wicked are not so, but the chaff and the wind drives away. Therefore the wicked will not stand in judgment of the Lord, nor sinners in the congregation, nor the righteous. For the Lord knows the ways of the righteous, but the ways of the wicked will perish. Psalm chapter 2. Why does the nations rage and the peoples plot in vain? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, Let us burn their bonds apart and cast away their cords from us. He who sits in the heavens laughs, the Lord holds them in derision. Then he will speak to them in his wrath and terrify them in his fury, saying, As for me, I have set my king on Zion, my holy hill. I will tell of the decree. The Lord said to me, You are my son, today I have begotten you. Ask of me, and I will make the nations your heritage, and the ends of the earth your possession. You shall break them with a rod of iron, and dash them into pieces of the potter's vessel. Now therefore, O kings, be wise, be warned, O rulers of the earth. Serve the Lord with fear and rejoice, with trembling. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry and you perish in the way, for his wrath is quickly kindled. Blessed are all those who take refuge in him. Psalm chapter 3. O Lord, how many are my foes? Many are rising against me. Many are saying of my soul, There is no salvation for him in God. Selah. But, O Lord, you are a shield about me, my glory and lifter of my head. I cried to the Lord, and he answered me from his holy hill. Selah. I lay down and slept, and I woke again, and the Lord sustained me. I will not be afraid of many thousands of people who have set themselves against me all around. Arise, O Lord, save me, O God, for you strike my enemies on the cheek. You break the teeth of the wicked. Salvation belongs to the Lord. Your blessing be on your people. Selah. Psalms chapter 4. Answer me when I call, O God of righteousness. You have given me relief when I was in distress. Be gracious in me and hear my prayer. O men, how long shall my honor be turned into shame? How long will your love vain words seek after lies? Selah. But know that the Lord has set apart the godly for himself. The Lord hears when I call to him. Be angry and do not sin. Ponder in your own hearts your beds and be silent. Selah. Offer right sacrifices and put your trust in the Lord. There are many who say, Who will show us some good? Lift up your face upon us, O Lord. You have put more joy in my heart when they have given the grain and the wine about you in the peace. I will lie down in the sleep. For you alone, O Lord, make me dwell in safety. Give to my ear, O Lord, considering my groaning. Give attention to the sound of my cry, my King and my God, for to you do I pray. O Lord, in the morning you hear my sacrifice. In the morning I prepare my sacrifice for you and watch. For you are not a God who delights in the wickedness of evil, may not dwell with you. The boastful shall not stand before your eyes. You hate all evildoers. You destroy those who speak lies. The Lord abhors a bloodthirsty and deceitful man. But I, through abundance of your steadfast love, will enter your house. I will bow down toward your holy temple, and in the fear of you, lead me, O Lord, in your righteousness. Because of my enemies, make your way straight before me. For there is no truth in their mouth. Their innermost selfish destruction. Their throat is an open grave. They flatter with their tongue. Make them bear their guilt, O God. Let them fall upon their own counsels. Because of their abundance and transgressions, cast them out. For they have rebelled against you. But let all who take refuge in you rejoice. Let them ever sing for joy. And spread your protection over them, that those who love your name may exalt in you. For bless the righteous, O Lord. You cover him with favor as with a shield. Psalms chapter 6. O Lord, rebuke me not in your anger, nor discipline me in your wrath. Be gracious to me, O Lord, for I am languishing. Heal me, O Lord, for my bones are troubled. My soul is also greatly troubled. But you, O Lord, how long? Turn, O Lord, deliver my life. Save me from the sake of your steadfast love, for in death there is no remembrance of you. In Sheol who will give you praise? I am weary with my moaning every night. I flood my bed with tears. I drench my couch with weeping. My eye wastes away because of grief. It grows weak because of my foes. Depart from me, all you workers of evil, for the Lord has heard the sound of my weeping. The Lord has heard my plea. The Lord accepts my prayer. All my enemies shall be ashamed and greatly troubled. They shall turn back and be put to shame in a moment. Psalms chapter 7. O Lord, my God, In you do I take refuge. Save me from all my pursuers and deliver me, lest a lion tear my soul apart, rending it in pieces with none to deliver. O Lord, my God, I have done this. If there is wrong in my hands, or if I have repaid my friend with evil, or plundered my enemy without cause, let the enemy pursue my soul and overtake it, and let him trample my life to the ground, and let him glory in the dust. Selah. Arise, O Lord, in your anger. Lift up yourself against the fury of my enemies, and wake me and point to me in judgment. Let the assembly of the peoples be gathered about you. Over it return on high. The Lord judges the peoples. Judge me, O Lord, according to my righteousness and according to the integrity that is in me. O let the evil of the wicked come to an end, and may you establish the righteous, who you test the minds of the hearts. O righteous God, my shield is with God, who saves the upright heart. God is a righteous judge, and God who feels indignation every day. If a man does not repent, God will whet his sword. He has bent and readied his bow. He has prepared him for deadly weapons, making his arrows fiery shafts. Behold, the wicked man conceives evil and is pregnant with mischief and gives birth to lies. He makes a pit, digging it out, and falls into the hole that he has made. His mischief returns upon his own head and his own skull, and his violence ascends. I will give to the Lord thanks due to his righteousness, and I will sing praise to the name of the Lord Most High. Psalms chapter 8. O Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth. You have set your glory above the heavens. Out of the mouth of babies and infants you have established your strength because of your foes, to still the enemy and your avenger. When I look at your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars of which you have set in place, what is the man that you are mindful of him, and the son of man that you care for him? Yet you have made him little lower than the heavenly beings and crowned him with glory of honor. You have given him dominion over the works of your hands. You have put things under his feet, all sheep and oxen, and also the beasts of the field, the birds of the heavens and the sea, whatever passes along the path of these. O Lord, our Lord, how majestic is your name in all the earth. Psalms chapter 9. I will give thanks to the Lord with my whole heart. I will recount all your wonderful deeds. I will be glad and exalt in you. I will sing praise to your name, O Most High. When my enemies turn back, they stumble and perish in your presence, for you have maintained my just cause. You have sat on the throne, giving righteous judgment. You have rebuked the nations. You have made the wicked perish. You have blotted out their name forever and ever. The enemy at the end, everlasting ruins. The cities are rooted out. In your very memory is perished, but the Lord sits enthroned forever. He has established his throne for justice, and he judges the world with righteousness. He judges the peoples with uprightness. The Lord is stronghold for the oppressed, and a stronghold in the times of trouble. And those who know your name put their trust in you. For you, O Lord, have not forsaken those who seek you. Sing praises to the Lord who sits enthroned on Zion. Tell among the people of his deeds, for he who avenges the blood is mindful of them. He does not forget the city of the afflicted. Be gracious to me, O Lord. See my affliction from those who hate me. O you who lift me up from the gates of death, that I may count your praises. That the gates of the daughter of Zion I may rejoice in your salvation. The nations have sunk in the pit that they made, in the net they have hid. Their own feet has been caught. The Lord has made himself known. He has executed judgment. The wicked are snared in the work of their own hands. Higgiel and Selah. The wicked shall return to Sheol. All the nations forget God. For the needy shall not always be forgotten, and the hope of the poor shall not perish forever. Arise, O Lord, let not man prevail. Let the nations be judged before you. Put in them fear, O Lord, that the nations know that they are but men. Selah. Psalm chapter 10. Why, O Lord, do you stand far away? Why do you hide yourself in times of trouble? In arrogance the wicked hotly pursue the poor. Let them be caught in the schemes that they have devised. For the wicked boasts of desires of his soul, and the one greedy for gain curses and renounces the Lord. In his pride in his face the wicked does not seek him. All his thoughts are, there is no God. His ways prosper at all times. Your judgments are on high, out of sight. As for his foes, he puffs at them. He says in his heart, I shall not be moved. Though all generations, I shall not meet adversity. His mouth is filled with cursing and deceit and oppression. Under his tongues are mischief and iniquity. He sits in ambush in the villages, in hiding places. He murders the innocent. His eyes are stealthily watch for the helpless. He lurks in ambush like a lion in the thicket. He lurks that he may seize the poor. He seizes the poor when he draws them into his net. The helpless are crushed and sink down fall by his might. He says in his heart, God has forgotten, he has hidden the face, he will never see it. Arise, O Lord, O God, lift up your hand, forget not the afflicted. Why does the wicked renounce God and say in his heart, you will not call to account? But you do see, for you note the mischief and vexation that may take into your hands. To your helpless commits himself. You have been the helper of the fatherless. Break the arm of the wicked and the evildoer. Call his wickedness to account till you find none. The Lord is king forever and ever. The nations perish from this land. O Lord, you hear the desire of the afflicted. You will strengthen their heart. You will incline your ear to do justice to the fatherless, to the oppressed, so that man who is the earth will strike terror no more. Psalms chapter 11. In the Lord I take refuge. How can I say to my soul, flee like a bird to your mountain? For behold, the wicked and bend the bow. They have fitted their arrow to the string to shoot the dark at the upright in heart, and the foundations are destroyed. If the foundations are destroyed, what can the righteous do? The Lord is a holy temple. The Lord's throne is in heaven. His eyes see, his eyelids test the children of man. The Lord sees the righteous, but his soul hates the wicked and the one who loves violence. Let him rain coals on the wicked, fire and sulfur, and a scorching wind shall be the portion of their cup. For the Lord is righteous. He loves righteous deeds. The upright shall behold his face. Psalms chapter 12. Save, O Lord, the godly one is gone, for the faithful have vanished from among the children of man. Everyone utters lies to his neighbor with flattering lips, and double heart they speak. May the Lord cut off all flattering lips, the tongue that makes great boasts. Those who say, with our tongue we shall prevail, our lips are with us, whose master over us. Because the poor are plundered, and because the needy groan. I will now arise, says the Lord. I will place him in safety for which he longs. The words of the Lord are pure, and the words still refined in the furnace of the ground, purified 7 times. You, O Lord, will keep them. You will guard us from this generation forever. On every side the wicked prowl of violence is exalted amongst the children of man. Psalms chapter 13. How long, O Lord, will you forget me forever? How long will you hide your face from me? How long must I take counsel in my soul and have sorrow in my heart all day? How long shall my enemy be exalted over me? Consider and answer me, O Lord my God. Light up my eyes, lest I sleep the sleep of death. Lest my enemies say, I have prevailed over him. Lest my foes rejoice, for I am shaken. But I have trusted in your steadfast love. My heart shall rejoice in your salvation. I will sing to the Lord, because he has dealt bountifully with me. Psalms chapter 14. The fool says in his heart, there is no God. They are corrupt. They do abominable deeds. There is no one who does good. The Lord looks down from heaven on the children of man to see if there are yet any who understand and who seek after God. They have all turned aside. Together they have become corrupt. There is no one who does good, not even one. Have they no knowledge of the evildoers who eat up the people and let the bread, and they eat the bread and do not call upon the Lord? There they are in great terror, for the gods with the generation of righteous. You would shame the plans of the poor, but the Lord in his refuge. Oh, that the salvation of Israel would come out of Zion. When the Lord restores the fortunes of people, let Jacob rejoice, let Israel be glad. Psalms chapter 15. O Lord, who shall sojourn in your tent? Who shall dwell in your holy hill? He who walks blamelessly and does what is right and speaks truth in his heart, who does not slander with his tongue, who does no evil to his neighbor, nor takes reproach against his friend, in whose eyes a vile person is despised, but who honors the Lord, fears the Lord, who swears to his own hurt and does not change, who does not put his money out at interest, and does not take a bribe against the innocent. He who does all these things shall never be moved. Psalms chapter 16. Preserve me, O God, for in you I take refuge. I say to the Lord, you are my Lord. I have no God apart from you. As for the saints of the land, they are the excellent ones in whom is all my delight. The sorrow of those who run after another God shall multiply. They drink their offerings of blood. I will not pour out or take their names on my lips. The Lord is my chosen portion and my cup, yet you hold my lot. The lions have fallen for me in pleasant places. Indeed, I have a beautiful inheritance. I bless the Lord who gives me counsel. In the night also my heart instructs me. I have set the Lord always before me. Because he is at my right hand, I shall not be shaken. Therefore my heart is glad and my whole being rejoices. My flesh dwells secure. For you will not abandon me to Sheol, or let your Holy One see corruption. You make known to me the path of life. In your presence there is fullness of joy. At your right hand are pleasures forevermore. Psalms chapter 17. Hear just cause, O Lord, attend to my cry, give ear to my prayer from lips free of deceit. From your presence let my vindication come, let your eyes behold the right. You have tried my heart, you have visited me by night, you have tested me, and you will find nothing. I have purposed that my mouth will not transgress with regards to the works of man, but with the word of your lips. I have avoided the ways of the violent, my steps have held fast to your paths, my feet have not slipped. I will call upon you, for you will answer me, O God. Incline your ear to me, your words wondrously show your steadfast love, O Savior of these refuge from adversaries at your right hand. Keep me as the apple of your eye, hide me in the shadow of your wings from the wicked who do me violence. My deadly enemies who surround me, they close their hearts to pity. With their mouths they speak arrogantly. They have now surrounded our steps. They set their eyes to cast to the ground. He is like a lion eager to tear, a young lion lurking in ambush. Arise, O Lord. Confront him, subdue him. Deliver my soul from the wicked by your sword, from men by your hand, O Lord. From the men whose portion is this life, you fill their womb with treasure. They are satisfied with children, and they leave their abundance to their infants. As for me, I shall behold your face in righteousness. When I awake, I shall be satisfied with your likeness. Psalm chapter 18. I love you, O Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock, my fortress, and my deliverer, my God, my rock, in whom I take refuge, my shield, and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. I will call upon the Lord, who is worthy to be praised, and I am saved from my enemies. The cords of death encompassed me, the torrents of destruction assailed me, the cords of Sheol entangled me, the snares of death confronted me. In my distress I called upon the Lord. To God I cried for help. From his temple he heard my voice, and my cry to him reached his ears. Then the earth reeled and rocked, and the foundations also, the mountains trembled and quaked because he was angry. Smoke went up from his nostrils, and devouring fire from his mouth. Glowing coals flamed forth from him. He bowed down, and the heavens came down in the thickness under his feet. He rode on a cherub and flew. He made darkness his covering, and his canopy around him, thick, dark clouds of water. Out of the brightness before him, hailstones, coals of fire broke through his clouds. The Lord also thundered in the heavens, and the Most High uttered his voice. Hailstones and coals of fire, and he set out his arrows and scattered them. He flashed forth lightnings and routed them. Then the channels of the sea were seen, and the foundations of the world were laid bare. At your rebuke, O Lord, at the blast of the breath of your nostrils, he sent from on high. He took me. He drew me out of many waters. He rescued me from my strong enemy and from those who hated me, for they were too mighty for me. They confronted me in the day of my calamity, but the Lord was my support. He brought me out of a broad place. He rescued me because he delighted in me. The Lord dealt with me according to my righteousness and according to the cleanness of my hands, and rewarded me. For I have kept the ways of the Lord. I have not wickedly departed from my God, for all his rules were before me, and his statutes I did not put away from me. I was blameless before him, and I kept myself from guilt. So the Lord has rewarded me according to my righteousness, according to the cleanliness of my hands and sight. With the merciful you show yourself merciful. With the blameless man you show yourself blameless. With the purified snow yourself pure. And with the crooked you make yourself seem torturous. For you save a humble people, but the haughty eyes bring you down. For it is you who light my lamp. The Lord my God lightens my darkness. For by you I run against a troop, and by God I can leap over a wall. This God, his way is perfect. The word of the Lord proves true. He is a shield for all those who take refuge in him. For who is God but the Lord, and who is a rock except our God? The God who equipped me with strength and to make me blameless. He makes my feet like the feet of a deer, and set me secure on the heights. He trains my hands for war, so that my arms can bend a bow of bronze. You have given your shield of your salvation, and your right hand supported me, and your gentleness made me great. You have a wide place for my steps under me, and my feet did not slip. I pursued my enemies and overtook them, and did not turn back until they were consumed. I thrust them through so that they were not able to rise. They fell under my feet, for you equipped me with strength for battle. You made those who rose up to sink under me. You made my enemies turn their backs to me, and those who hated me I destroyed. They cried for help, but there was none to save, for they cried to the Lord, but he did not answer them. I beat them fine as dust before the wind. I cast them out in the mire of the streets. You delivered me from strife for these people, and you made my head in the nations for them whom I had not known served me. As soon as they heard of me, they obeyed me. Foreigners came crying, cringing to me. Foreigners lost heart. They came They came trembling out of their fortress. The Lord lives, and blessed be my rock, and exalted is the God of my salvation, the God who gave me vengeance and subdued the peoples under me, who rescued me from my enemies. Yes, you exalted me above those who rose against me. You delivered me from the man of violence. For this I will praise you, O Lord, among all the nations, and sing your name. Great salvation he brings to his king, and shows steadfast love to his anointed David and his offspring forever. Psalm 19. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the sky above proclaims his handiwork. Day to day it pours out speech, and night he reveals knowledge. There is no speech, nor are there words whose voice is not heard. Their voice goes out through all the earth, and their words to all the ends of the earth. In them he has set a tent for the sun, which comes out like a bridegroom leaving his chamber, and a strong man runs his course with joy. Its rising is from the heavens, and its circuit to the end of them, and there is nothing hidden from the heat. The law of the Lord is perfect, reviving the soul. The testimony of the Lord is secure, making the precepts of the Lord making the wise simple. The precepts of the Lord are right, rejoicing in the heart. The commandment of the Lord is pure, enlightening the eyes. The fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. The rules of the Lord are true and righteous altogether. More is to be desired are they than gold, even much fine gold, sweeter also than honey, and the droppings of the honeycomb. Moreover, by them your servant is warned, and keeping them there is great reward. Who can discern his errors? Declare me innocent from hidden faults. Keep back your servant also from presumptuous sins. Let not them have dominion over me. Then I shall be blameless and innocent of great transgression. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, my rock and my redeemer. Psalms chapter 20. May the Lord answer you in the day of trouble. May the name of God of Jacob protect you. May he send and help from the sanctuary and give you support from Zion. May he remember all your offerings and regard you with favor and burnt sacrifices. Selah. May he grant you your heart's desire and fulfill all your plans. May we shout for joy over your salvation, and in the name of God set up our banners. May the Lord fulfill all your petitions. Now I know that the Lord saves his anointed. He will answer him from heaven with the saving might of his right hand. Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we will trust in the name of the Lord our God. They will collapse and fall, but we rise and stand upright. O Lord, save the King. May he answer us when we call. O Lord, in your strength the King rejoices, and in your salvation how greatly he exalts. You have given him his heart's desire, and have not withheld the request of his lips. Selah. For you meet him with rich blessings. You set a crown of fine gold upon his head. He asked life of you, and you gave it to him. Length of days forever. You gave it to him. Length of days forever and ever. His glory is great throughout your salvation. Splendor and majesty you bestow on him. For you make him most blessed forever. You make him glad with the joy of your presence. For the King trusts in the Lord, and through the steadfast love, the Most High, he shall not be moved. Your hand will find out all your enemies. Your right hand will find out those who hate you. You will make them as a blazing oven when you appear. The Lord will swallow them up in his wrath, and fire will consume them. You will destroy the descendants from the earth, and their offspring from among the children of man. Though they plan evil against you, though they devise mischief, they will not succeed. For you will put them to flight. You will aim at their faces with your bows. Be exalted, O Lord, in your strength. We will sing at your praise and power. Psalms chapter 22. My God, why have you forsaken me? Why are you so far from saving me from the words of my groaning? Oh my God, I cry by day, but you do not answer, and by night I also find no rest. Yet you are holy, enthroned in the praises of Israel. In you our fathers trusted. They trusted, and you delivered them. To you they cried and were rescued. In you they were trusted and were not put to shame. But I am a worm, not a man, scorned by mankind, despised by the people. All who see me mock me. They make mouths at me. They wag their heads. He trusts in the Lord. Let him deliver him. Let him rescue him, for he delights in him. Yet you are he who took me from the womb. You made me trust my mother's breast. On you was I cast from birth, and from my mother's womb you have been my God. But not far from me, for trouble is near, and there is none to help. Many bulls encompass me. Strong bulls of Bashan surround me. They open wide their mouths at me like a ravening and roaring lion. I am poured out like water, and all my bones out of joint. My heart is like wax, it is melted with my breast. My strength is dried up, and like a potsherd, and my tongue sticks to my jaws. Yet you lay me in the dust of death. For dogs encompass me, a company of evil doers encircles me. They have pierced my hands and my feet. I can count all my bones. They stare and gloat over me. They divide my garments among them, and my clothing they cast lots. But you, O Lord, do not be far off. O you, my help, come quickly to my aid. Deliver my soul from the sword, my precious life from the power of the dog. Save me from the mouth of the lion. You have rescued me from the horns of the wild ox, and I will tell of your name to my brothers in the midst of the congregation. I will praise you. You who fear the Lord, praise him. All you offspring of Jacob, glorify him, and stand in awe of him, all you offspring of Israel. For he has not despised or abhorred the affliction of the afflicted, and he has not hidden his face from him, but he has heard when he cried out to him. From you comes my praise in my great congregation. My vows I will perform for those who fear him. The afflicted shall eat and be satisfied. Those who seek shall praise the Lord. May your hearts live forever. All the ends of the earth shall remember, and all the Lord, and all the families of the nations shall worship before you. For a kingship belongs to the Lord, and he rules over the nations. And all the prosperous of the earth eat and worship before him, and all who go down to the dust, even the ones who could keep himself alive, properly shall serve him. It shall be told of the Lord of the coming generation that they shall come and proclaim his righteousness to a people yet unborn, that he has done it. Psalms chapter 23. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, and my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Psalms chapter 24. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof, the world, those who dwell therein. For he has founded upon the seas and established it upon the rivers. Who shall ascend to the hill of the Lord, and who shall stand in the holy place? Who has clean and pure heart, and who does not lift up his soul to what is false, and does not swear deceitfully? He will receive blessing from the Lord, and righteousness from the salvation. Such is the generation, those who seek him, who seek the face of God in Jacob. Lift up your heads, O gates, and lift it up, O ancient doors, that the King of God of glory may come in. Who is the King of glory? The Lord, strong and mighty, the Lord, mighty in battle. Lift up your heads, O gates, and lift them up, O ancient doors, that the King of glory may come in. Who is the King of glory? The Lord of hosts. He is the King of glory. Selah. Well, this has been day 26 of our 60-day journey through the Word. Stay tuned shortly for more. God bless and have a great day.